Welcome to Agenda Communication, also with some case studies to combine it. First, the general approach by Dr. Horst Heitz. He's representing SME Europe, SME Connect, and he's running the office in Brussels of the Taxpayers of the European Economic Senate. So he's our strongest weapon in Brussels, we hope so. And he's learning lots, and he's very experienced. So, but we are here to communicate what we do, but I already learned lots. That's important. I think that's why we met. And now, Horst, the floor is yours.
Thank you for the roses. And I have to say, I managed the different topics and issues because it's so overwhelming for us, because we are not big organizations. We are SMEs, we are taxpayers, we have not this huge finance resources like big companies or some NGOs. So we have to fight every day to protect the interest or to advertise the interests of our members. If you're starting with agenda setting communication, I would ask you first, what do you understand under agenda setting in the European Union? There I'm expert. Who is thinking he set already or shaped agenda in the European Union here? No, I would say the agenda setting is first. I think you have to understand it is not, before it's existing, you have the idea of an agenda, who the government, the political system, the institution should take over, or the institution have by themselves a vision, perhaps, or an idea of an agenda. But it's coming out from a public agenda, a media agenda, or a political agenda. So the public agenda, this is we all, who is influencing us, how which are the trends, what are the desires of the society, what the society demands. So also the European Union is reacting, wants to be loved also from the citizens. So they're thinking also to choose agendas, what they're expecting, who are good for the citizens, accepted by the citizens, and also get applause by the citizens. The media agenda is also clear. Media, who is behind the media? Independent, is influenced, and media has also often an own agenda. What is they are pushing for? And then the political agenda. The politicians want to be re-elected, and so on and so on. They are the interest of these different groups, and they're influencing each other. It's not independent. Political agendas are, of course, connected with the public agenda, and also, of course, the media agenda. Sometimes politicians have also to feel, is this now a media agenda, or is this really the agenda of the public? Because sometimes elections are surprising if the media approach and the media, that you have this feeling, this is the really common desire or common public view, and then the voters are acting totally differently. And here is starting, in fact, the agenda setting, because here is the point where you have this feeling we have to do something. The second point is this more really on facts. There's a problem, we have to solve it. This is the other point of an agenda. This system has to be functional. The system has to generate output. So this is also where often people are coming and thinking we have to do this, and they're coming in power and see our agenda is not fitting to their reality. So they have to shape the agenda. And this is the second thing what we see. The first is opinion as agenda setting. The second thing is the facts, the reality who push us to agendas. So then we have, of course, long-term agendas who are growing, coming up, like the internal market, what was not coming in one day. And then you have agendas who are coming as a reaction, like the pandemic, like now the war in Ukraine with Russia. We have to act, we have to shape our agenda, we need a new agenda, and so on. And this is already the difference between where you can shape in the long term and where you have to react, or can also bring on in an opportunity your own agenda. Then you have, if you see this in the long term, an agenda whose the setting is very formal. How you're thinking it works in the European Union? How is the agenda setting in a formal way is happening in the European Union? knows somebody how it works? So, in fact, there's first the idea of a think tank idea. We're creating green papers who are infecting with you're creating this with experts, with consultations and so on certain topics. It's something like a collection of ideas and answers and also perhaps what is happening in the future. And this is something like really like a think tank is creating some papers. This will become collected together to a white paper. And this white paper is then how to implement these ideas to political action and regulations. And this is this famous white papers. If you go into the street to the citizens, nobody knows what is a green paper, nobody knows what is a white paper. But in fact, the long-term ideas is by the Council. They say what is the targets priorities for the European Union. And there they say, of course, if you see that the member states have the presidency, normally they already have a fixed plan. This is so the next 5 years we're following this. This is our agreement. You take over this from these topics. So this is the agenda they create together, and then the single member states in the presidency choose then what we want to underline. So it is always that you have a continuity for the next 3 presidency that's not, sometimes it's we jumping from one side to the other side. It has a structure, how to follow political lines. Then you have also every year meetings, twice of the member states, where you get recommendations to the single member states to follow some priorities for the next 12 or 18 months. So it's not only about the European Union where you give priorities, so also the other member state says, okay, Greece, you should go in this direction for the next 12 and 18 months. It's not that they have to follow this, it's only a nice approach to say it would be good if you would tackle these problems or chances. The next thing is, of course, the Commission. The Commission has the initiative right. So if we have now to collecting all these ideas, these white papers, of course, always if a new Commission is coming like von der Leyen, they're putting based on this the agenda together. And also the priorities. And here's also the influence of the Commission. Because, of course, it is before a little bit vague. Now it's become sharper. And you can also say what you want me more and less. And this is the first thing, in fact, where often also the lobbyists in Brussels become acting. In fact, the lobbyists are everywhere, the good ones, who has the resources in the green paper, in the white paper. But then it's this agenda setting. And there's one rule. Bring so many agenda points on the table, on the paper as possible, then the Commission can do nothing else anymore. So there are 2 things. You can shape the agenda that your points are there or not, but there's also one rule. Keep the Commission always busy. Then they have no bad ideas. So agenda setting is in fact always in the beginning of a political cycle, policy cycle. And if you see now agenda setting in this big way, in this very formal way, it's very complicated. How little organization can do this? In fact, it is like we learned now how we shaping the public opinion. It's beginning how we work together with media and how we work with political groups. But then, are we involved then if it's really happening, the agenda setting? Can we really influence eine von der Leyen that the right topics are there? Yes, because it's also together with the capital cities. So you have to communicate there. You have to show what are the important topics ahead, by sides, from the problems you have to tackle, like the pandemic or like this war. You have to tackle this. But what is with these other topics? How climate change becoming so evident? It was also not coming from today to convince policymakers that this has to be on this agenda. So then we have, of course, in this agenda 2 elements always, a political and a technical. What is linked to this problem of facts a problem of political demands. And this is what we are starting our work, to identify what is political and what is technical in this regulation, in these targets. If we go into health, it is always not only technical, it's always also political, because people have a public interest in this. So less, in fact, a public interest is there. So more it's a technical questions. So less it is about to convince the public opinion, so less it's about the European Parliament. So more it's focused on the European Commission. So more political it is a discussion on high level in the Commission, because the Commission wants to push legislation through successfully. The Parliament has a topic where they can shine, because if you are a politician, you want also be heard by your voters. In these technical questions, nobody's interested. There is perhaps a lot where you can really create benefit for the people, but not benefit for your political cause. And this is always difficult. And then, of course, you can go in a completely different way. If it's political, then it is always also going to a way where it's not only about facts, it can become populistic, it can become about emotions, and this is always tricky for us, also a chance, but I have to say, you can often not control it, and others are better than us to do this. And then you have to understand that this agenda is not cohesive in this European Union. Because if you have a topic, what would you say, about agriculture? Is this an economic topic? It is a climate topic? It is a trade topic? Is this a consumer topic? Even if it's split in the European Commission, it can be tackled from a different point of view. What will be the leading point of view on this regulation? Will it be the consumer point? Will it be the economic point? Also here is starting already the things, the conflicts, and also the opportunity to influence. Should it be perhaps better to the Commissioner for Economic than for the Commissioner for Environment? And then later, it is also deciding to which perhaps leading committee in the European Parliament this legislation will come. It is not sure if it's really coming from the DG Environment, really the leading committee will be also ENVI. It can be seen that the Parliament has a little bit a different point of view. So it's not about even to in this agenda setting, what is the content in the legislation, it's already the approach to legislation. If it's going political, it's going technical. If it's coming from the environment side, it's coming from the trade side, it's coming from the economic side, basics. And then is it so that the Commission has the initiative right, but can be forced to use it? What it means? Of course, Commission can starting legislation processes, but the Council and the European Parliament can force to use this right. So it means also that you can influence the Commission or the Parliament or the Council that they have to act, not to forget. And then we're coming then to the character of agenda setting. It's top-down, like its formal is. It is from the Council to the Commission, or it's bottom-up, where pressure groups, the public opinion, forcing the Council to act, that the Commission is act, or the Parliament, that the Commission has to act and to set the agenda new, or to complete the agenda. Yes, and what is our daily work, in fact? It is shaping policies, because I have to say agenda setting is very complicated, and you need a lot of resources, and there's perhaps also a moment, but we have often to handle the little agenda setting. And this is the focus, what I said, from which perspective a legislation who is on the agenda will persist, and then it is the work in the institutions, it's in the work in the Commission, it's work in the parliament and its work in the council. And Michael has the examples and
Some.
the cases for us.
Some cases, yes. Thank you very much. Christian, I need now. I brought a lot of papers. That's why my luggage was so heavy. So I would like to ask you to take everything with you. I don't want to take it back. I brought the black book. You will get for sure the short statement also as a PDF file. But I brought also copies. I think it's very interesting, maybe. And I just want to start with a comment what Horst said. That's the theoretical approach, okay? We have now one problem. It's called trilogue. In former years, there was a proposal, something interest by the council or commission took the initiative, and then there was a discussion. There came up a proposal for any regulation, okay? But the directive. But nowadays, the trilogue was in former days was at the end of the process because Parliament had a different interest, Council had a different interest, and Commission had a different interest. And so we were included in the discussion process. Now, we have a short trilogue. Means at the beginning of the decision, a decision will be taken. The first time a directive appears in the Parliament, it will be decided on. And that's our problem. So we have no impact today anymore. It's not up to us that the Commission can say, listen, we do it in a long-term process. So Parliament says no, Council says no, and at the end, we need any common sense. Nowadays, at the first meeting, first discussion, a decision is taken. And that's our biggest problem. That's not a very democratic approach because it's about 10 people negotiating these topics Horst mentioned. So 10 people.
It's up to 80% of legislation.
It's 80% of the legislation is now in a short trilogue. That's why I wrote already an article in our Bavarian newspaper. I will update it with Horst and we will translate it. Why it's so necessary to have more democratic discussion on the European Parliament. For sure, we are not against to fight climate change. But we ask as taxpayers to be efficient, not to waste billions or trillions. So that's really important, and less regulation, better regulation. So that's, I think, the most important thing I learned. We have very good monitoring now with Horst, and we want to set up a new kind of newsletter if we have some common topics. We want to send up with the taxpayers and with our network. We want to form, like say, expert groups on health, what we started already. You will hear something more maybe tomorrow. And also on Wednesday, our Senator Markus Scherborn will host a table on the health topic, because health is also very important. They want to regulate everything. We should pay for unemployment, European-wide. We have an unemployment insurance in Germany. I don't want to pay in addition for the others. If it's needed, we can talk about everything, but that's very, very important that we focus on how we can have a better impact and what we can do. And that's why I want to show you some samples. That's the burning euro. It's my favorite, because that's what's happening in Germany, that's what's happening in Brussels. They burn our money. I dislike if people burn. If it's your money, you can burn, you can do whatever you want, but you should spend it to taxpayers associations. I think it's a good idea, but not to burn it this way it's used today. It was a campaign. I come back to this later, and it was very, very good notice, because it's a very good symbol. It's the shortest way to communicate what is the problem. Euro is burned. Okay? I don't want to talk about the taxpayers movement. You know everything about this. But it's important for us why we have to, I said, do good and talk about it. We must communicate our association's aims, our objectives. Otherwise, why should someone give money or become a member of our associations? They want a benefit. If it's your magazine, if it's added value, whatever, advocates, any tax advice, it's important, and we have to finance our work, to be honest. We are independent. We're completely independent. We get no single euro by the government. I don't want government money. I dislike it. For sure, you can say, Michael, you're lying a little bit. Yes, because you can deduct, your membership fee is deductible in your tax declaration. 50% you get back. So it's a good reason to become, as a private person, member of the taxpayers, but it should not be the main aim. So we have also to address our multipliers. We need to inform our people, to motivate people, and that's what we did already with signature campaigns, not only to become members or donors. We need a bigger crowd supporting us. Until today, we are with a conservative libertarian network, with our entrepreneurs network. We have the same values. But we need more people outside saying, yes, you're right. Yes, what they ask for, what they demand is right. Not only money and also call for action, members and people finally to go to vote, what we did successfully in Bavaria, to ban indebtedness. Motivate people finally with the election to vote for the right thing. It was one referendum on the Bavarian level to stop, to ban indebtedness. It's a success story. What Wolf started with a private discussion with the Prime Minister. He said, listen, if you do not follow us, we will start a signature campaign. And then he went to the opposition and said, listen, if you do not follow us, we will start a campaign. And the third biggest party said, listen, it's independent voters, listen, I have an idea, and we want to ban it. If you don't follow, we have lots of power. And then finally, they said, listen, before they make a proposal and force us, we do it ourselves. That was the reason why we have a stop and a ban of indebtedness. Okay? Case studies. Some case studies I want to show you. You get these papers also as a single printout, 3 of them. It was always the first page. My colleague from our staff in Berlin, insights, what we do. I can jump through it because it was excellently done before. For sure, we do social media, and everybody should have noticed today, do it. We learn a little bit more, that we also should use TikTok and these things, but we do it. It's beside our traditional approach, what we do, for sure, Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn. So we have different pillars of our social media strategy. So for sure, Facebook and Instagram is for us, elder members, for sure. Our members love Facebook. I become 60 this year. I use everything because I have to, but it's some things, even to phone people, that's my way to lobby, and was too, that we met people. So today, young people met in the internet and the web. So all these things, I don't want to go into detail. Just to show you that we use lots of tools, also for design, for marketing, and for sure these platforms and Adobe. I don't know if you're on the Prezi for your presentations, but it's not too important. And what is very interesting, what I learned also today, I think also, John, you do it too. We have not only our own webpage, it's taxpayers.de, it's steuerzahler.de. We have also landing pages for our so-called black book, Waste of Public Money. So we created a special webpage. Once we did it because it was completely destroyed. Every year we publish it, and then 100,000, 200,000 people want to go on this webpage, and our server went down. That's why we said, listen, it's better to have our own server for this. It's a success story. We published it this year, the 50th edition of the Black Book, and that's why we have our own webpage. We have a kind of own TV show, a comedian, at least 4 times a year, Mario Barth. He's copying, it's copy and paste our cases, and very humorous, and also Rolf did it because people understand it. You could say now, Michael, it's stupid. Why? They burn money. You should not make people laugh, but people like it, this show, and since years we dislike it sometimes because they hire professional comedians. And sometimes what they do, it's not really close to how we would like to communicate. But they reach young people, mid-sized, old, elder people, and it's 4 or 5 times a year. It's we cost less advertising for us. For sure, it's live recorded. But when my member of board colleague Rainer says, "Hey, become member of the Taxpayers," they cut it out finally. So it's not possible to make special advertising for us, but Rainer is mentioned as president of the Taxpayers Association, so it's maybe also an idea. If you have these samples of waste, get in contact with a very interesting comedian and say, listen, look, Mario Barth, send him a tape, because it's since years, and they sell Werbung, advertising. They sell it. They live from this, and so it's two hours. It's very good. So we use it, and we also use and started campaigns. So we are mostly based, for those who don't know it, we are based on the membership recruitment system. So people sign a contract to become member of the Taxpayers Association in Bavaria, and we finance as an umbrella association our German association, okay? And the European Association is the umbrella association of the national associations. So we are based on membership contracts, okay? But we try also to get some donation. We do it for our research institute, more or less successful. It's around 400,000 euro per year, so we can finance some stuff in Berlin. And we see so-called solidarity surcharge. It was a special tax implemented to finance the unification of Germany. And no single euro now is going into the eastern part of Germany, but we still have this solidarity surcharge, what is not correct. It's illegal, and we went to court, by the way, but it takes a long time in Germany. If you go to constitutional court, I think it's now the 6th or 7th year, but I'm convinced finally to win. If not, I have to think about a different strategy to burn cars, something like this, because if something is illegal and the court would say, yes, they can do it, hey, we have really to say, listen, now we have to fight them like people from Pharma do and went to Brussels and are very violent, and we have to change our behavior maybe. But just to show, it was a simple letter, not too long. Normally it says long letters work better than short letters. But we did a very nice simple letter and explained why it's necessary to do something and to finance our court case. And finally, you can read it later, we got 90,000 euro by this simple campaign. And it's nice. It's nice. You can pay 2 external lawyers. Otherwise, we had to find it out of our own budget. So it was nice. You could have more money, and we did campaigns. It's good for membership recruitment. It's good for added value, for donation. We were visible. And that's important. Be visible. And it must be new for media. If you have every day the same message, if you bring every day to your wife flowers, the first time she says, Michael, something is going wrong, where have you been? If you do it every day, it's digressive. Says, oh, okay, flowers. Thank you very much. So it must be always a highlight, and for media, you must be very attractive, okay? That's why we have this agenda setting. Some samples, I don't have to go into the detail, I just want to show you the pictures. Many samples I brought to you, but what is really important, what we do, we have this campaign webpage. What is really important, to make it very short and simple. Roadshows, it's the same. We didn't talk before what we do, but it's important. So manifestation, demonstration, panel discussion, these things, and for sure press work. We write press articles, and now it's each channel, printed, email, Instagram, Twitter. We do all this work, and also interviews. If they come and want an interview, especially for TV, it's still interesting for them. And nowadays, sometimes I listen, I say, I have no time, no problem, we do it via Zoom. It's also, I did some interviews now via Zoom, and not normally they come in our office. Also say, where are you? I'm Berlin. Okay, we send someone. Now, oh, you have no time, no problem. We do it via Zoom. That's what you can also offer, to say, hey, do you want it very comfortable? Just for me, we can do it via Zoom. We record it, and we can tape it again. It's very simple, and it's important. So what we do now, what we did already successfully years ago in Bavaria, we run a campaign against the size of the German parliament. After China, we have the biggest parliament worldwide. But it doesn't mean that a lot of parliamentarians means a lot of good policy. It's the opposite. It's really the opposite. And that's why we want to limit it. We call it XXL oversized Bundestag. So there's a certain background. Now we have 736. And with our law, the next election, maybe we have 800 or 900. It costs billions for sure, but not only money. It's not efficient. And so our demand is 500 are enough. Our problem is we need The big party, my own party, the Conservatives, they dislike it because we have a lot of direct candidates. Even if we lost against the Greens, a lot of seats, only one seat of a direct candidate was lost in Bavaria. So all others were re-elected. And faced to the law, we have no second voice seats normally. And so now the Bavarians and the big party members of the parliament are afraid if you do a reform, are you crazy? The winner will be the Green on the left and the radical right. But we are still forcing them to reform it, but it's because it's necessary. So it's not easy for us, but so the enemy is our friend. That's not easy if the friend is your enemy. But so we have to fight them. So we do it. We have now more than 570,000 signatures, supporters. And if you see that we have around 200,000 members, paying members, it's much more than we have members. So it's not also necessary to convince them to pay for something, but it's important in the next step, because it was change.org, it's these platforms for these referendums on the German level. The next step will be to install our own landing page that people can sign, what we did already to fight the European Stability Mechanism. So that we get a contact, and we are, by law, you need a special allowance to write them in other topics too, otherwise you cannot use these addresses. So our aim is now that we can contact these people, not to become members. Maybe they will become later on. There's a hot address. So I don't know, but it's important to convince people, and I think 570,000 supporters is really a good result. I think it's the best result in Germany ever we had with a campaign. And that's a step how we do it. Other examples, that was our fight against the European Stability Mechanism. We started in Munich. It was a campaign initiated by Rolf with us, with the Bavarian Association. The Bavarians are always different. The Germans didn't want to do it. We said, listen, then we do it ourselves. And we do it on a German level because it's not very democratic what is happening with the stability mechanism. So we did it. So we started a campaign. So we made panel discussion. One of the speakers became later deputy economy minister, defense minister, Sibohorn. So it was a good contact for us. And not all conservatives were voting for this stability mechanism. So we had even in the party some friends. And we used these people, maybe with the tax cuts and anonymity decision, we should do the same. Manifestations, that's Rolf, and at our main place in Munich. There's one thing very funny. We were supported by whom? Left-wing and right-wing people. That was also very interesting. Not the libertarians, not the conservative, not the socialists. And that was not easy for us to handle this. If you have these manifestations, if you say something against Corona, say, yes, we have to do something, throw stones, whatever. That was not easy. Left-wing and right-wing people were supporting, and crazy old nuts. That's what I learned from our friends, US, for donation. Keep these people attracted. So, then another campaign to ban indebtedness in Germany, especially in Bavaria. Children are liable for the parents. Normally, in Germany, you read if there's something under construction, parents are liable for the children. We changed it, and the children have to pay the bill. What is the truth nowadays? And that was a public referendum. We succeeded, or like Miami, CSI Miami, or whatever you want, maybe, or New York, crime scene waste. That's what we did. And we were forced by this target. It's a symbol what is not allowed to use for us because it's related. Tatort is a crime movie, a German crime movie. And when we stopped our campaign, you find all these papers in the back too, and also the success story in German. The lawyer wrote us, hey, you're not allowed to use it. If you use it again, 200,000 euro. It would be fine for us. Because it should be a discussion in media, but we stopped the campaign because it was a success story. But they even noticed it's too late, so we were not allowed to reuse it. And in the later publications, we did just an O instead of this target. We went out that's a car, one of the cars of Rolf to carry this car, and we went there. We did discussion, signature campaign, call to action. People come. You must offer them something. For the children, some sweets. For the parents to sign, I'm against waste. They need to act. If you just are outside and listen, we are against, they say, what can I do? Like a German Shepherd. What can I do? You must give them an opportunity to act. Or money, whatever. The animal welfare say, yes, you can do something very simple. Give us a donation. But Rolf and I, we decided we never will do it the first step. Because it's not honest. The second, yes. And just to show you this picture, I have to show it because it makes me so angry. The blue line is the spending of the church tax, and the gray line is the money is going to our finance minister. It's not fair. That's why we go to court, and that's why we are campaigning with cars in Berlin. That's Rainer, a colleague of board of the German Association, the former opposition leader, Christian Lindner. Now he is finance minister. And he should support us, and he is also on our side. But the former finance minister, socialist Scholz, who is now prime minister, he don't want to eliminate it because 10 billion are paid by small and medium entrepreneurs still. And that's the reality. He wants this money. He wants to spend this money coming from small and medium entrepreneurs. And we think it's not fair. I'm convinced that we will win. And the problem of our finance minister is a very simple one, because in the tax declaration, you get a paper from the tax administration. It's your tax you have to pay. And then you have 3 other pages. So it's provisional. Why? Because case, court, blah, blah, blah. And if we win, he has to pay it back. And it will be really a good day, so we should have a glass of champagne. If he has to pay it back, it will be hard
from Kaiser Wilhelm.
Yes, yes. You know, the champagne tax was implemented by Kaiser Wilhelm to finance the emperor's fleet. We do not have a really good fleet, even not a good military, but we still have this champagne tax. So no implementation. So we did manifestations, all these things. We have our black book. I brought some samples. And that's the big mother. But we have also this spring cleaning. I don't know who mentioned it today. What we do, we say, listen, we show you how you could save money in the budget. If you clean your house in Sweden, if you want, you were in Stockholm, now you want to go hunting, fishing, whatever, you have to clean your house in the countryside. And that's what it names in Germany, spring cleaning, Frühjahrsputz, or your car, whatever, you have to clean it after winter, you should clean it. And that's what we do, save money. We show 10, 15 billion to be saved in the budget. 30 cases, we communicate it in Twitter, we do it every day, it's very good. But we didn't do it face to Ukraine war. We stopped it because it's not a good discussion. Now to say, listen, if you have this military investment, 100 billion and others, it's not a good discussion. But we will publish it later. That's a top seller. I think maybe you need a top seller in your organization too. That's our annual top seller. Most noticed media impact German-wide is when we publish our black book. The Court of Auditors, put them away. If they say, listen, we have to change the government because of, but they're not allowed to, then somebody would notice and react on their publication. But that's the most noticed publication. That's a very good, tool, weapon. We think about to collect cases in all countries. So if you have countries, it must not only be European funds, but Horst and I, we are thinking since long time on researched final cases out of all countries, also Christian. So that's important. I can give a lesson and a lecture how to run and to organize this black book. I did it many years in Ukraine and each country where I've been to show how we do it with the research. We write that it's safe, because if you have this, if they go to court, if you write something wrong, your whole black book would be burned. And we had no case until today where we went to court against us in 50 years. That was important. Just to give you some insights how we work, how we campaign, agenda setting. And I'm convinced that we need to do more on the European level. Sorry, last year our former director, Walter Grupp, died. But we have now a restart. We have a new office with Horst, and I think it's important for all of us, and also, by the way, for Great Britain, even if they left, if they want to trade and do things with legislation, if we have ugly, bad legislation, you will adopt it because it simplifies your life. So we have to look, and I'm happy if you cut down taxes. It will be a good example. If you get a lot of investors moving from Germany to Great Britain, it would help us. So cut down all taxes. Get rid of inheritance tax, wealth tax, and I will promote it. I will send it to all my people. Say, listen, look what they are doing. It's a better climate for investors, a better climate for SMEs, because we pay the bill. We are the taxpayers, and I want to close with my lovely.
Michael, we do the same with Swedish.
Yes, we promote always what Anders publication, everything with this inheritance wealth tax. We send it to all politicians if they want or do not want it, they get it. Yeah, that's important.
And the finance minister of Bavaria, he told
Yes.
us, I will do it if I can, because then people are coming to Bavaria.
Because you must know, the inheritance tax is a country tax, so Bavaria, North Rhine-Westphalia, but it's decided on a national level. I don't understand it why, but that's reality. And so the promise always was by the finance minister, if we have the opportunity, we will cut it down. And I want to close with most important two words, or one sentence: peace and low taxes. Thank you very much.